Am I the a-hole for snapping at my sister that she'll choke on her jealousy one day? Hi. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. I promise I'll clarify things if there are confusions and sorry about them in advance. I'm 21 female and I have 2 siblings. My sister is 24 and engaged. My brother is 28 and married to my sister-in-law who is 25. My parents hosted a family luncheon to celebrate my sister's engagement at their house. I went early to help them set up, my brother and sister-in-law a little bit later than everyone else. My sister and her fiancé arrived last. Everything was going well and everyone was happy until my sister got a text and pulled me aside. She asked me if I could go outside and meet a friend of hers who's going to drop something off for her. I did. The something was a big ball of pure happiness, a Saint Bernard dog with a cute little formal tie around his neck. As adorable as he was, I couldn't bring him in because my sister-in-law is allergic. Her allergy is not severe, but still, everyone in the family knows of it. I told the friend to please wait while I talked to my sister. She did not. I texted my sister that I can't bring him inside. She texted that it was fine to bring it in because it's a surprise and he's the newest addition to the family. I insisted that I can't, then I texted my brother about it because it had been 10 minutes. I'm standing in the driveway with a big doggy that would not stop licking my legs, not knowing what to do. From what I was told, inside, my brother pulled my sister aside and asked her not to bring the dog in, that she knows his wife is allergic. She refused, saying that it's an open space, that sister-in-law will be fine. He then told her the news that sister-in-law is pregnant. I already knew, and they were waiting until she passed her first trimester. My sister then went outside, dragged the dog, and then me in when I resisted. My brother, seeing this, excused himself and left with sister-in-law. We tried resuming the lunch after that, but it was awkward at best. When my sister and her fiancé cut the cake, she grabbed her glass of champagne to make a toast. The toast was her rambling about how selfish my brother and his wife were, that they couldn't let her have one day to herself and had to ruin and overshadow it. That they were not the first or last couple to get pregnant. Both of my parents tried to shush her, but she was on a roll and went on to call sister-in-law an attention seeker that just had to give the family the first grandchild. I finally had enough and told her that green isn't a good look on her and that she was going to choke on her jealousy one day. Then I got up and left. She called me a bitch on my way out. My mom called me after and told me that it was a bit harsh even if she was harsher. She also suggested that the 3 of us, siblings, talk it out after things settle a bit. My dad is staying neutral. I haven't heard from relatives that were at the luncheon. Am I the a-hole?
She didn't even treat the poor puppy well. The last thing a new puppy needs to deal with is the chaos and overstimulation of a family party. And what did they do with the poor wee bugger while they were cutting the cake and making their pissy speeches? Just leave it outside? Inside to piddle in a corner, cost the first few weeks with my pups they piddled with gay abandon every few minutes.
I ended up keeping him company before the cake cutting thing went down, but yeah, he's not a puppy. If I were to guess, I would say he's maybe 2 years old. I volunteer at a shelter, but I'm definitely not a pro.
Still not fair at any pet age. Imagine being moved from a shelter to a whole new environment. You're scared, no one can tell you what's going on or why you're being moved from one location to the next. Then, you get there to be overstimulated by lots of strange people. You're definitely not the a-hole, but she is on many levels.
That dog was brought in purely as a revenge tactic. Poor little bugger. Wanna bet he'll be returned like so much baggage when his purpose is complete?
Oh honey, you are definitely not the a-hole, but let's break this down with some sass. First off, your sister pulling that Saint Bernard stunt at a family luncheon? Girl, she knew about the allergy, but instead of being a decent human, she chose chaos. That's like bringing a firework to a quiet night in. And then she had the nerve to drag that dog, and you, into the house, knowing full well the situation? Nah, that's some diva behavior right there. As for your brother and his wife, they're not out here trying to steal her thunder, they're just living their lives. Her being mad that someone else has a big moment, and, let's be real, it's a baby, not a new handbag, is straight up petty. And that toast? Yikes. Sounds like she was throwing a jealousy tantrum, not making a speech. And calling you a B-word after you threw down some truth? Oof, That's a classic case of can't handle the truth. You said what needed to be said. Sometimes, folks need a reality check, and you served it with a side of sass. If your mom thinks it was too harsh, she probably didn't hear the full extent of what went down. And your dad staying neutral? Bless his heart, but neutrality in this mess ain't the vibe. When you do have that sibling chat, if you even want to bother, keep it real and remind your sister that other people can have good news, and it doesn't make her any less special. But if she keeps acting like a brat, maybe suggest she adopt some emotional maturity along with that Saint Bernard. Keep your head up, Queen. You handled that like a boss.
Well said. Let's not forget that by keeping that dog in the house, sister-in-law may never be able to go back. The parents need to think about that and the impact of not hosting their own grandchildren.
Am I the a-hole for refusing to change my unborn daughter's name? For context, my brother 34 male and his girlfriend 28 female have been together for 8 months, and my brother has admitted it's already getting a bit rocky and he's debating leaving her. After a few months of trying, me 27 female and my husband 28 male are pregnant with our first baby. I am 20 weeks along and have been very unsure about a name for our baby girl until 2 weeks ago. At first we were hesitant about being public about the name as I know disagreements can occur. I won't lie, it's a pretty basic name, but it's his late grandmother's name and a name I had always liked, so we went with it. Just a bit more context, my husband lost his mom at 8 years old and his father was never really present, so his grandmother became his caregiver and a massive part in his life. We started dating at 14 and 15, and from the start I was open about my home life not being the best, and she welcomed me in her home whenever I needed. She was also a massive part in my life and helped me get through my abusive parents, now on better terms, and bullying, so we always had a good relationship, so this wasn't just a name I was going with for my husband. We both loved the idea of our baby girl to take the name of her great-grandmother and to wear it in honor of her. After we announced the name, my brother's girlfriend flipped. She stated that was her late daughter's name, from a different man, not my brother, so I had no idea that was her name. My brother just informed us her daughter had passed last year and to be careful on those sorts of topics around her, but the name was never brought up. She immediately demanded we change the name and said the baby wouldn't care. I explained it was also in honor of husband's late grandmother and it had real meaning to us and we didn't want to change it, but she insisted she couldn't hear her daughter's name, especially not on another child. I understand it must be so hard, but the name has meaning to us, and if I'm being honest, if she was genuinely a part of my family, I may have considered, but my brother wasn't sure if they were forever. I offered for them to come up with a nickname we use around her if she desperately didn't want to hear the name, but she refused and said she doesn't care about whose grandmother is dead. She had it coming, but her daughter still had her whole life ahead of her and called me an inconsiderate cow. My brother broke up with her on the spot, and now all my friends are saying I took it too far, but I really don't see how. So am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. I get why she is upset, but she can't demand that of you. If you're not even close enough to her to know the name of her late daughter, then that's far enough of a separation that she can't tell you what to do. It would be a different story if her daughter's name was a unique name, and that you only decided on it after hearing it from her. But that's completely not the case here.
This. Also, what's up with these friends out here that side with the unreasonable person? Itchy.
I agree. I often read these and think that I would never associate with people who are so clearly unaligned with normal values. Also, stop discussing stuff with friends, especially as it's not their business.
Not the a-hole. The choice of name is a beautiful way for you and your husband to honor the woman who raised him. There's nothing wrong with that. As for your ex-sister-in-law, she lost whatever sympathy I had when she said your husband's grandmother had it coming.
Yes, the had it coming comment was weird and very out of line.
I'm guessing she meant she was old, so they knew it was coming. At least that's how I read it.
X nothing. Her brother wasn't married. This person was no relation to her.
Not the a-hole. It is a name with a special meaning to you and your husband. From the sounds of it, your brother's ex-girlfriend might need some therapy if she's that upset about someone else using that name for their children. Nobody owns a name, and for her to demand that nobody in the family of her so use that name for their currently unborn child isn't right. Especially when you take the fact that it has special meaning for you and your husband. What happens if your daughter had already been born when she found out? It would make her look even worse.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel to see more interesting videos.